Hi, this is Matthew Rhodes, and I'm joined as ever by the Matlock Town boss, Paul Phillips. Paul, we're speaking the day after the training game that took place last night, where you went down 3-0 away at Trafford. Obviously, it's a bit of a weird one because it wasn't a competitive game at all, but what did you take from that game? Was the most important thing just that the players got match fitness in before the restart of the NPL, or were you still pretty disappointed with that result?
Yeah, I think I was disappointed with the result. We're always when you ever get beat, disappointed with any result. But I think on the day, realistically, we've had 3 shots in the first half with 3 worldies. I think we could have probably scored 4 or 5. I think Ross admits they're never going to have a goal forward for missing, but I think he could have probably scored 4 goals. But that's football. Ross hasn't played a lot of football. Like I say, Kingy and Chip, who started in midfield, not played a hell of a lot of football in the last 12, 15 months. And it was more to minutes in the legs. I don't think the way our team's set up and the way we play and the intensity we play with, I don't think we're really a friendly team. I think we've got to be all or nothing, as I found out last night. And I think we've got to make sure that we make people play how we want them to play rather than let them dictate the game. I thought the midfield second half was poor out of possession because they didn't go man for man, which they had to do. And I think probably, for me, 2 or 3, why I won't be in the squad Saturday is what they did last night. And I think when it comes to picking my squad for Stalybridge, you'll see, obviously, we give people the opportunity last night. I think everyone had more or less 45 minutes, apart from Asabi. But I think you'll see the reasoning behind why people certainly won't be in the squad come Saturday, whether they'll be still at the club. That's down to them, whether they want to fight for the place. But I'm not here for just to give people minutes. But I think we need to get competitive football back. I think we need to build momentum like we had beforehand. I think that's a key thing. I think we've got to get back to doing what we did well. And I think that comes with playing games, understanding each other. And again, it might sound daft because it feels like forever and a day, but this team's still in its early stages with the amount of players that come in over the summer, and we're 6 games into the league campaign. And still a lot of people finding out what the other players do. And I think the more games we can play as a group, as I said before, the better we will be. But I think you'll see a shifted emphasis come Saturday afternoon at Stalybridge.
Yeah, and just the last bit about last night in particular. I don't think there'll be any highlights that are put up with it being a training game. But yeah, as we both know, there were 3 unbelievably well taken goals, genuinely all 3 of them. But
yeah,
you're still a little bit concerned that they still had the opportunity, as in like conceding free kicks around those areas.
I think you look at it and you say to your first one, how many times are you going to score that? For me, it's a great strike, and sometimes you've got to take your hats off to him. I think if we're a bit more critical about things, we give the ball away in an area that we didn't need to give it away to start off with. The free kicks again, we've got. Sometimes you've got to sort of take your hats off to players who can do that. Ollie Roberts is very good, probably one of the best set piece players in the league. You could put that together with playing as a combative midfield. He won't be playing at this level, but I thought the 3 goals were really good. I questioned Sean on one because he always do, because I think he could have done slightly better. I think he holds his hands up and admits that. But yeah, I think we've got to stop it at source. I think we've been good at that. Stop it at source. Again, that comes with probably intensity of winning the first ball and the second ball higher up the pitch.
And yeah, just looking ahead to Saturday, because finally the league is finally back with us. Just before we get to Stalybridge, just how important is it to the club that, well, hopefully, regular competitive football is coming back to the club?
I think it's really, really important for everyone looking around the leagues and looking around. I think it's, as we've documented past, I think it's massively important for all clubs, all people involved with the club, because it's getting repetitive now. You feel like you play 3 or 4 games and then it's pulled to a halt. I feel sorry for the lads around the country because they've got nothing to really keep themselves fit for. Obviously, lads will do, but it's a really hard kettle of fish to sort of try and keep putting the impetus on them to say, do Zoom meetings, you can't train. I think it's massively important now. If we need to try and get to the end of the season by hook or by crook. I've said before, easiest possible grounds to make sure that we social distance is at non-league grounds. We've shown that in the previous lockdown. We've shown it right the way through our league. I think everyone's done it really well. So for me, there should be no massively unbenefit for people to not to make sure that we are playing week in and week out, because if the bar's shut, fair enough. If we can get 600 in, that compensates for that. But I really feel that it's affecting people's mental health, I think, as well, because a lot of people rely on getting out, me included. I don't like to play that card, but my wife said I was made up last night. She had a glass of wine because she said it felt a bit like it was a bit normality. You came in, went back out, and it was football. So I think all around the country, everyone will say the same, and I think we've got to try to do our best. If it's not going to be a league because of we can't manage the games in the time frame that we have, split the leagues up like they said before, and let's make sure there's an outcome at the end of it, that someone's winning and someone's losing. And I think that's massively important. Whether we're the losers or the winners, it's got to be done the right way.
Cool. And just finally, looking ahead then to Stalybridge. Obviously, you've only found out very recently that that game is back on for the trip to Stalybridge. What do you know of the team? I don't think they've had a great start to the season, and a few people maybe saying they're probably looking down at the wrong end of the table for this season. But what do you make of Stalybridge, and what kind of game are you expecting that to be?
First and foremost, I don't like them. It's a club that I've always wanted to beat, but coming from Droylsden, they treat myself and Stephen Alford with utter disrespect in our previous managerial. So whenever they go there, they always want to win. When I say I don't like them, I like the manager, got a lot of respect for Simon, most of the people at the football club, the spectators. But first and foremost, it's about Matlock Town on Saturday, and we've got to make sure that we pick up where we left off, winning football games. It's a funny ground because it's a game of two halves, up the hill and down the slope. It sounds daft, but it does pay a massive factors on how you set up, which way you're going. But they've got some good players. Steve O'Halloran, who's at Stockport. They've just brought Grant Shenton in, who's a top keeper. They've got obviously lads up front who are Evangelisco, who scored goals in the league below. The other kid on the other wing who's been at Salford on trial. So even though they've had a bad start, realistically, I've watched them twice because it fell in my postcode that I could go and watch him. So I've watched them twice. Scott Septon, midfield, would be another player that I've had and I greatly admire. But I think for myself, it's about what we do Saturday, how we set up, how much we want to win the game, and how much we enforce our game on them. And I think if we do that, we'll come away with 3 points. But we've got to do that to start off with.
Cool. Well, thanks for your time, Philo. And we'll see how we get on against Stalybridge. Best of luck for the game on Saturday.
Cheers, mate. You get back to babysitting duties now.